Alright, so here's a quick video on these windshield hinges. So this is a 91 YJ we're working on, and the windshield was completely rotted on the bottom and no good. We're going to replace it, and the windshield hinges were completely seized. We tried soaking them and everything else, and these are the earlier style hinges. These do not have the bushing inserts in them. So, seeing as how we have a parts vehicle just laying around still, we decided we're going to change these out to the newer style from a 93, which has the bushing inserts for the door hinges. And to do this, you're going to need, you can't read it, but that's a T40. You're going to need a 1/2 inch wrench. We're using a little breaker bar with a 1/2 inch deep socket. Got a 1/2 inch shallow. The reason for the screwdriver is these bolts are put on with red Loctite. They go into the firewall here. You do have to remove the dash, pull it off and away. This side is very accessible. The other side, driver's side, was not as accessible. We did pull the gauge cluster off so we could slide it up the column out of the way. Now, on this 91, that's all seam sealer that was sprayed up in there from the factory. You can't even see the bolt heads. You can't see the nuts. There's a bolt head here. You can see where I'm digging at this to get to this bolt. The reason we're digging at it, number one, you got to be able to get on it with something. But number two, the factory put red Loctite on these bolts. Let me try and find one that, it's hard to see on this one. That's red Loctite. Let me see these other ones. That's red Loctite. Red Loctite is meant to be a permanent locker. You can only get red Loctite undone with heat. So you need to take something like a MAP gas torch, and you're gonna have to get up in there. You're gonna have with all of this, you're gonna have to heat that up some and keep blowing it out because it's going to catch on fire. Over here, there's no harness on the passenger side, so it's not as stressful as doing the driver's side where you've got the harness all up in there. You need to heat it up enough where you can get in there with a screwdriver or something and try and scrape it away from the nut, because you need to heat that nut up. You don't got to get red hot with it. You just need to heat it enough that when you go on the outside, that this will spin. Because once you're able to break this loose, then all you need to do is put a socket on that nut on the inside, and it should screw right out with very little resistance. But you have to heat it up because of that red Loctite. So when I say bushings, these are the old hinges, the old style ones. They can be retrofitted. You have to drill them out with a 7/16 bit and then go online and buy the bushings that go in them. So these are the hinges we're going to put on. These are off of a 93. You can there you can see the top of the bushing there. It's a split bushing. It's like copper or something like that. Looks like a top hat, and it gets driven down into there. And that's a replaceable bushing. These are the uppers. We've got these all unbolted. You can again see the bushing there. Now this 93, unlike that 91, it didn't have any of that seam sealer inside here. I don't know why. The only thing I can think is it was a cost-cutting measure. So hopefully that helps you guys as far as trying to get these windshield hinges off, because if you don't heat this up on the inside because of that red Loctite, all you're going to do is break off bits and strip this out. Yes, you can use a hand impact driver and try and break them loose and everything else, but you're still going to have to fight those nuts off because of that red Loctite, even if you get it to break loose. And that's why they don't want to come apart. It's not rust, it's literally red Loctite, and you must heat red Loctite to get it to release. Hopefully it helps somebody. Like and subscribe. Oh, and do all this at your own risk.